Hello, welcome to this video. In this video, we will see how to build a chatbot that runs locally using Deepseek distilled models. This is how it would look like. In the sidebar, you have options to choose the Deepseek model you may want based on the parameters so you can experiment. I have got here 1.5 billion parameter and 7.0 billion parameter model options. Both these models were sourced and downloaded using Ollama. Below, I've also put some instructions for users just so that it's easy to follow. On the right hand side, we have the chat text box where the user can enter the chat messages. Before we get into coding, let's do the prerequisite setup. First thing we need is to go to the Ollama webpage. Ollama provides an interface to help you run and interact with AI language models locally. It also integrates with LangChain easily. Now let's click on the download button and select your operating system and download Ollama. While we are waiting for the installer, let's get to the model section. And here we can see all the available models that could be used locally. We have DeepSeek, Llama, Mistral, and so on. However, here we are interested in Deepseek R1 models. Here they have provided 6 Distilled models with different parameter sizes. Distilled model means smaller model with comparable performance and capability on reasoning patterns as that of larger models. And then there is a comparison of DeepSeek model with OpenAI O1 models. Let's go back and install Llama. We will get back to this page when we are ready to download the models. Click on your installer file and then begin the installation. Okay, so now the Ollama installation is completed and we shall go to the Windows terminal, CMD, and type Ollama. We'll use this run command from Ollama in our terminal to download these models. Let's use it. As you can see, download has started and the file size is 4.7 GB. It might take some time depending on the internet speed. Similarly, you can download the 1.5 billion model as well. I have downloaded already both of them. Okay, so we are not done with our prerequisites. Ollama is there. We have downloaded models and we shall head to VS Code. The first step here is to create the virtual environment. I already have it, so I would just go ahead and activate it. As for the required packages, if we look into the requirements.txt, we pretty much need the Streamlit, LangChain community, and LangChain core. You can go ahead and install them separately or via the requirements.txt directly, but I have already installed them, so it's already there in my virtual environment. We'll start with the imports. We are importing Streamlit, which we are going to use to create the web interface. Then we have Chatolama through LangChain community. This will interface to Ollama models. Then we have str output parser, which will be used to parse the language model's output into string. Then we have chat prompt template that will help us structure the conversation prompt with system and human messages. And then again, LangChain core with AI message and human message, custom message types to track the messages from AI or the user. Then we have the Streamlit page configuration. Here we are setting the title and icon for the browser tab. The page content is centered and the sidebar is expanded by default. In the sidebar configuration, we are setting the title. We are defining the model size. There are two models which we have put in here, 1.5 billion parameters, 7 billion parameters, and index is equal to 0. That means by default 1.5 billion parameter model option will be selected. And then we have put some markdown text here for the instructions for the ease of user. Next, we have model mapping. Here, what we are doing is we are just mapping that if the user has selected 1.5 billion parameter, which of the distilled model should be used. So 1.5, we will use Deepseek 1.5 billion, and 7 billion parameters, we are going to use Deepseek R1 7B. Make sure that these names are the same name matching to the name of the model you have downloaded. Next, we have LangChain setup. We have defined it with the function setup underscore chain. And here we are saying prompt template, a system message, which will instruct the model to behave as a helpful AI assistant. Then we have the human message as a placeholder for the user input. Then we have the language model initialization section where we instantiate the chat Ollama with selected model name. We define the temperature and the context window size. Then we are creating a chain. The prompt, model language, and the output parser are changed together using the pipe operator. This creates a pipeline where prompt is populated with the user input. The language model processes the prompt. The output parser converts the model output to a string. Next is the main chat interface where we are having title to the bot and a caption. And then we are giving the session state. We are initializing the session state. This ensures that the chat history or the list of messages persists between the interactions. If there is no existing message history, an empty list is initialized. Then we are displaying chat history. It loops through the stored messages in the session state. If the message is from user, that is human message, it is displayed in a human style chat bubble. If the message is from AI message, it is displayed in a different style showing it is from the model. Then we are handling user input and generating AI responses. st.chat underscore input provides an input box, and we are checking and assigning at the same time if there is a user input or it is empty or non-empty. The user message is then appended to a session state history as a human message. The message is then rendered in the chat interface. An empty placeholder, response underscore placeholder, is created to display the streaming response from the AI. Full response is initialized to build the complete response incrementally. The chosen model is retrieved from model underscore map depending on whether the user has chosen 1.5 billion parameter or 7 billion parameter. And then the setup chain function is called with that selected model to build the chain that processes the prompt and returns a response. The chains.stream method is used to get chunks of responses as they are generated. Each chunk is appended to full underscore response and the placeholder is updated to show the current response. Once the stream is completed, the final response is rendered in the chat. The final AI response is stored in the session state as an AI message, ensuring it will appear in the chat history on subsequent reruns. Let's go ahead and run the Streamlit app. Just be sure that Ollama is running in a different window, else you might get an error. Okay, here we have our app. Let's ask a question to the bot, and here you go. It starts with the thinking process.